night. I'm 80 miles from home, and alternator has gone out in the Suburban. I was going to pick up a new project, and the battery light flickered way over here, and then it stopped charging, and then it started charging again, and then it stopped charging, and then started charging again. So when it did the second time, I stopped at an O'Reilly's and bought an alternator. Since it was late, I figured I needed to get an alternator. I knew it was going out, and so I knew I was going to replace it at some point. And what I didn't want to happen was for me to get 80 miles away from home. I mean, I was already almost here, but I didn't want to get away this far away from home and auto parts stores be closed where I could not get a replacement alternator. And so I'm going to disconnect the battery real quick. So I've got the alternator. I went and picked up the project. It stopped charging again. It started and stopped again. And I do have tools in the Suburban. I took my big bag of tools out, unfortunately. And so what I did have is a set that I have kept in the Suburban, or I had in the 4Runner, and it is just a couple wrenches. And then I ran in Walmart, picked up this adjustable wrench. I had a pair of pliers too, and the pliers, because I did not have a 5/16 to get this off, I have got a 10. It's a little set of wrenches. It's a 10, 12, a 13, a 14, and a 15. And all we really need is a 10 and a 15. And I think originally that set only did not have a 12. I think I added a 12 to it, because that was a real common size. So we're gonna take this wire off here. This is our main feed for the alternator. I do not know if we can have what we need to get that off. I don't have any sockets. I pulled into Walmart parking lot. I figured that was a good lighted spot. If I needed tools, you know, I've got them right here. And I just ran in and grabbed a pair of mechanics gloves. I heard that hit the ground. I heard it hit the ground. We'll get it in a minute. Picked up a thing of mechanic tool or mechanic gloves because the engine's hot. Let's see, is this a 10? It is not. Let's see. I debated buying a cheap set of sockets, but I decided not to because I figured they were a waste of money because they are normally junk. So I grabbed the adjustable wrench, which is a cheapie too. And like I said, I think I told you, I grabbed a thing of sockets too. I grabbed a pair of pliers too. When I got up to the checkout, there was no price tag on them. So I just threw those back. I left them at the register and just came with this and figured if I need pliers, I'll go back in for pliers. We're at Walmart, so. But before I went in there, I looked to see what tools I needed. And I checked, I needed a 10, 15, the belt tensioner's a 15, and I need a screwdriver to get this intake out of the way, just to make things a little bit easier. And I didn't think about having to take this off. This looks like an 8mm, but I got it with the adjustable wrench, so that worked. Yeah, and I grabbed a screwdriver. I've got my knife, but I went ahead and just grabbed one of these little all-in-ones. I used to have one in here, and I think I took it out. Maybe in the Mercedes. But I got this just in case I needed it, and it's gonna stay in the Suburban. I'll throw the screwdriver and the adjustable wrench in the jack storage compartment, along with this little set of wrenches. And then, if this happens again, I'll have all I need. Yeah, I would have just changed it at O'Reilly's parking lot, but I had to go meet the guy for the project I was picking up, and I didn't want to take that time. Plus, it started charging again. If it wasn't charging, I probably would have done it there. But while I left it running while I was at O'Reilly's, and it was charging the whole time. So, I'm not going to change it if it was charging. So we undo the thing there. I'm just going to set this out of the way. That gives us room to work. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to cheat on the wrenches so I can get the belt off. We're going to probably need to move y'all because I cannot see. Just doubling up the wrenches to give us some leverage. That's the wrong way. This way with it. Y'all see what I'm doing. All right. So to cheat with wrenches, or to give yourself more leverage, you hook them together like that. So then you can push down like that, or to go the other way, like that. Gives you more leverage. Use that trick to break these loose. I don't know if we're going to need to push those in. Do not have a hammer. Do have a 4-way lug wrench. I might could use that to push these little things in, or to hopefully we can get a wrench under here and get this thing wiggled out. Nice thing about these alternators though is they are easy to change. It definitely would have been easier with a ratchet, or quicker. But like I said, I wasn't going to buy a $50 tool set to do this, and I wasn't going to buy an $11 tool set either, because both would have been a waste of my money. I mean, yeah, I could use a $50 tool set, but I've got plenty of tools at home. I didn't need it. And the $11 tool set, those are just junk. I do normally keep a set in most of my vehicles because they are kind of like, they can be lifesavers. So I almost bought one just to put it in here, but I didn't. After spending about $200 on a alternator, I decided, and buying this project, I decided I would just save my money. Alright, so you got these 2 bolts. We already undid the battery cable going to the alternator. We undid the battery cable on the battery. And we've got this little push connector here. It's got a little clip. Just use the wrench to get behind the clip and push it off. So now it should come off. What I'm going to do is wiggle it forward and backwards a little bit. Try to loosen it up a little bit. It is tight in there. And try with our screwdriver, but oh, you know, it's probably our best, this adjustable wrench. Probably the strongest tool we've got here. I'm saying. I don't know if we'll be able to wiggle the other one in without driving these in a little bit. We'll see. I think we loosen that one up a little bit. Rocking alternator. We can try doing that on this one. Shove it back down in there. And just pry it one way. Alright. I might have loosened it up a little bit. So we got our alternator out. Let me go get the new one. I opted for the rebuilt. Hopefully I don't regret that. Instead of buying the new one. But I wasn't sure who makes their new one. It was not a new GM one. It was a new, you know, O'Reilly brand. So I went with the rebuilt Delco. So Delcos or Delphi? Delphi. All right. So this is the, is it a 135 or 145? I think. Oh, and it slipped right in there. Let's make sure our plug fits. It does. Our two bolts are the same length. So can't get those mixed up or anything. I mean, they go back in the same spot. Or this really is not a bad job. Like I said, if I would have had, I could have done it just being real careful with this battery wire. It's not worth risking, you know. Just did not have a pair of pliers or a wrench to get the battery cable off. Tighten these up. Hopefully this isn't a DOA alternator. That would suck. And the good thing is, though, I guess the thing that made me feel a little better about the situation and driving with it was I had my big deep cycle battery that I used for the winch, because the project that I got, the guy said the battery was dead in it. And so I wanted to make sure it runs, so I brought my big deep cycle battery and some jumper cables. And I just taken it off the float charger, so I knew it was fully charged. So I knew I had a good big battery in the back. And if I had to, I would find some way to, I don't think I could fit it under the hood. It would not, it's not a side post, so I couldn't use it here. But I was gonna figure some way, if I had to rig up some wires going to this battery or something if I needed to. And luckily I didn't have to, but if it won't start, if the battery's too dead right now to not start, you know, after driving it here to Walmart, we can use that battery to jump start us. But hopefully it'll start. And if you follow me on Instagram, there's a link at the end of my videos, has a link to my website. There's nothing really to my website. It's kind of just a hub to take you to either YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll get a sneak peek at the project I bought, because I will post a picture of it. And the website's just MJM's Workshop, MJM's MJM's Workshop.com. Man, you kind of take ratchets for granted sometimes. tight. Alternator sounds good. No weird noises. Throw that on there. Get our 10mm nut. Shoot. Where did it go? One under the car, one on the intake somewhere. Well, that one fell down in the intake manifold. When I say down in the intake manifold, it's down in the valley. But got the one that came off the old one and put it on there. It was up under the car. It had fallen. I found it. So we'll use that one, and I can probably fish the other one out with the magnet when I get home. But it's fine there for now. Let's go ahead and tighten this down. And put the boot back on. And let's put y'all back over that way. So our alternator is on. What we got to do now is put the belt back on. Got our 15 and our cheater 14. And we are on everything except the alternator. So let's slip this back on here. It's up here somewhere. There it goes. Slip on there. Push it away. Put our cheater on. Should give us slack. Sometimes it's easier to slip it on something else first. Let's make sure we are on everywhere. And the crankshaft. Looks like we are, from what I can tell. See too much, but looks like we are. Just a little bit more. Take y'all around. Make sure it is on here. And it is not quite. Got one spot on the crankshaft, but it's not quite on there. Down here. And it's on. And check the other side of the crankshaft. It's on there. We are on everywhere. And take our wrench off. Shove the intake back on. grommet thing for this upper radiator hose. Shoving that thing on there. Put that on. Tighten our clamp. Clamp's tight. Shove this on, it just slips in at the back. And goes there on the front. And put our wrench on here. Let's see. Got this one. This is kind of a sorry wrench. It does not work well for small sizes. They get a lot of slop in them. Just kind of gotta tighten them up once you get them on there. Put them on loose, tighten them down. Alright, that's tight. Put our battery cable on. I know people don't like the newer Optimos, but this one's been good to me. It was on, I wouldn't have bought one for it, but it was on here when I got it and never had any issues with it. I'm gonna need both hands with this wrench. I'm gonna tighten down the battery cable and then we'll start it up. All right, all done. Let's go crank it up, see if it's charging. Hopefully our battery's still up enough to start it. Sounds a little down. And we are charging. Awesome. And I need to change my oil. Awesome. I'll show you the tools we used. All you need is a 10 and a 15, but you're gonna need some leverage on that 15 on the tensioner. This is that little wrench set I bought probably 10 years ago. I've only used it a handful of times, kind of for emergency stuff. And then I bought a adjustable wrench for the battery and just a screwdriver and some gloves. So I'm gonna throw all this, I'm gonna leave it in this bag and put it in my jack storage compartment in the back. And I'll have that in case I need to do this again. So, gotta take that back. Luckily I don't have to take it back to the same one I bought it at. Take it back to a local O'Reilly's and not have to drive 80 miles back to this one. So, thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more.